Hello, how are you? Today I brought you a super quick cake that comes out already filled. It has no wheat flour, no gluten, no milk in the batter, and no sugar, but it's delicious. It's super quick to make and low in carbohydrates. So if you're on a low-carb diet, if you want to lose weight, this will be a great option for you. Stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. First of all, if you're new here, welcome. Take a moment to subscribe to the channel and also turn on the notification bell because every day I share nutrition tips here, as well as new, super healthy recipes that you'll love. Let's get started with our recipe. You'll find the ingredients, quantities, nutritional information, and related videos down below, as always. You don't need a blender or a mixer. Everything is done by hand. I'm going to take my eggs here and pierce them to mix the yolks and whites together so the mixture becomes more uniform. If you want to know more about eggs, like whether it's okay to eat them every day, cholesterol, and so on, I have a lot of videos on the channel about that, and I'll leave them linked down below in the description for you. Now to the eggs, I'm already going to add my xylitol, which is the sweetener I'm using here, to make it easier to mix. If you want to use stevia, you can use it. If you want to use erythritol, you can use that too. If you have a sweetener that's stable for baking and cooking, you can add it as long as that's stated on the label. This is very important. We can't use sweeteners that aren't suitable for baking or cooking here because that's not good for your health. If you don't follow a low-carb diet, don't have any carbohydrate restrictions, and that's not an issue for you, you can use brown sugar or demerara sugar. But remember that this will add more carbohydrates and more calories to our recipe, so the nutritional information will be different from mine shown below. I'm going to add the unsweetened cocoa here. It's a bit harder to dissolve, as you can see, because this is cocoa, not chocolate drink mix. So let's go slowly and patiently here, and it will dissolve. There are still some lumps here, but as we keep mixing and add the rest of the ingredients, everything will work out. I'm also going to add the baking powder now, so it dissolves well too. And I'll add the coconut oil here, which is my fat of choice for this recipe. It will give it a really beautiful shine. And now I'm going to add the almond flour. If you want to use peanut flour, you can. If you want to use flaxseed flour, you can use that too. Any type of low-carb flour will work, except for coconut flour, because it absorbs too much water. So if you want to substitute with coconut flour, you'll need to add it spoon by spoon to the batter, waiting until it reaches the right consistency. Because if you add the same amount, it will absorb too much moisture and turn into a paste. It won't become a cake, it won't work out. So look, we're mixing it here. Everything is already well incorporated. And now I'm going to get my baking pan, which is already greased with coconut oil. Let's assemble it to give it that filled cake style I mentioned to you. So here's the pan, greased as I told you with coconut oil. Let's put the batter in here and scrape it out. One thing you also ask me sometimes is whether you can use oat flour in the batter. Oat flour is not low carb. If you're not necessarily making a low carb cake, you can substitute it. But if you wanted to remain low in carbohydrates, you won't be able to make that substitution. We've already put the batter in here, and now I have some sugar-free chocolate. This chocolate of mine is 70%. If you have any kind of milk restriction, you can also look for a milk-free chocolate. Nowadays, that's pretty easy to find. So let's add the chocolate pieces here. And here I come in with a spoon, just gently pressing them down a bit. Now let's bake it. I'm going to bake it in the microwave, which will be very quick. If you want to bake it in a regular oven, bake it at 360 degrees Fahrenheit, and you'll need to do the toothpick test to make sure it is baked. I think for this amount of batter, about 10 minutes, but then you can tell me how long it took at your place. I'm going to put it in the microwave. I'll be right back with it ready, and I'll tell you how long it took. Hold on. 2.5 minutes, super quick. Now let's take it out of the pan. I'll cut a piece. Come here with me. Look how beautiful it turned out. Let's cut a piece here so you can see the texture inside because I know you love that. I'll lift up a piece here so you can see. Look. It looks beautiful. If you get an unexpected guest, now you know what to do. So tell me, are you going to add those extra chocolate squares or not? Because it works really well even if you make it without them. In fact, if you have any kind of dairy restriction and you can't find dairy-free chocolate in your city, you can make it without adding the squares. And on top, you can make a syrup with a bit of cocoa powder. No milk, no sugar either. Add a little coconut milk, a bit of coconut oil, pour it over the top, and it will work just as well. It will also be great. So tell me down below, which option are you going to choose? I'd love to see your comment. Give the video a like because that really helps me out. And share it with anyone who needs it. Let's spread this chain of kindness together. That's what I want here on the channel. Now let's take a look inside to see how it turned out. I'm going to cut a piece. So let's cut a piece of our chocolate cake now so you can see the inside. Look how delicious that is. It's super moist. Almond flour is usually fantastic for that. And of course, I won't be able to resist. See you next time. Bye.